Let's talk about Vampire in the Garden, Netflix's latest Japanese animated series that combines horror and action as humans square off against vampires. I'm going to give an overview of some key plot details and characters, as well as discussing my own personal thoughts and feelings on this first season. This, of course, means that, as ever, there will be spoilers ahead, so you have been warned. Vampire in the Garden is the result of Wit Studios' efforts, the team behind Bubble, which I also reviewed quite recently on the channel. Here they have provided a series that I think is superior to Bubble, though not without its flaws. To me, the world is conceptually and visually interesting, but it's not razor sharp in terms of being groundbreaking. What we have is a post-apocalyptic future where vampires have run amok, causing the surviving humans to take refuge within a large city surrounded by lights that protect them. The humans have increasingly dwindling resources and have established a military to go on convoys for supplies and to pick off as many vampires as possible. The vampires, on the other hand, are more and more desperate for blood, so they've resorted to inventing a kind of drug that can turn them into enormous, raging, mutated vampires in order to kill off dozens of humans in one burst, at the cost of dying from the change. So we have our humans who are good, we have our vampires who are bad, and we have our human character Momo, who is the daughter of the general, that discovers that vampires aren't that bad and that humans aren't that good. Yep, that's essentially what it boils down to. Classic good team, bad team that aren't the good team, bad team. There is in fact good and bad within both teams. Yeah, it's not covering any new ground with this one, but fear not, as I think that it's a rather trivial thing anyway. The real strength of Vampire in the Garden lies in other areas. So back to Momo. She befriends a vampire named Fine. The deepest level to the world lore here is that music is outlawed to humans. It's considered vampire culture and is not allowed to be played in the city due to the acute hearing the vampires have. Hang on, what? So you can't play music, otherwise the vampires will be able to hear and find you, even though they know exactly where the city is anyway? So this is more of a white lie told to people to prevent them from being akin to vampires and their customs. But Momo has a music box and enjoys humming tunes, much to the distaste of her mother, the general. So when she performs a little ditty while outside the city and Fine hears her, that's where their connection begins. Effectively, Momo wants to experience music and artistic expression rather than being limited and restricted by the city and the humans. To her, there's more to life than suffering in silence, living a grey, dull existence. So she's attracted to the vampire ways and to Fine, who offers a way into those ways. Effectively, Vampire in the Garden becomes an action horror buddy movie from here, with Momo and Fine going on a road trip to find a rumoured location named Eden, where it's said that vampires and humans live together in harmony. I think I enjoyed this aspect the most, just Momo and Fine exploring the outer world, bumping into different groups of people, and Fine having to protect Momo from other thirsty vampires while trying to control her own thirst. I feel like that's where more depth could have been had, out on the far outskirts of the city. I did find the city pretty dull, to be honest. We get to a kind of border patrol area where Fine has to pay for access to the other side, and it doesn't half expand the scale of the world. That was an exciting scene to me because I was really curious to where they were going to end up next, and I just think that the characters within the city don't offer all that much other than we don't like vampires very much, but you're meant to like us because we're people. What I do like about the city and the world in general here is that it takes heavy influence from a snowy Siberian landscape, and the clothing and weaponry of the humans has a Soviet Union flavour about them. It's a cool setting for Vampire in the Garden to take place in, and rings true to the Eastern European history of the vampirism mythos. But the main aesthetic element I found incredible was the vampire society. They live a very lavish lifestyle with elegant clothing and dancing and music. There are Interview with a Vampire flavours here, and the rich gothic architecture is a beautiful Castlevanian sight. Easily my favourite visual element to the series. I do properly love the action here. It's animated really nicely, very bloody, some slick flick sequences that flowed brilliantly. It was awesome to look at, but I couldn't help but find myself somewhat uninvested in the action at times due to not really caring about why the conflict was happening. It does simply come back to that good team, bad team thing again. You expect these scenes to occur, so much like Bubbles' animation, gorgeous to look at, flowed really well, not all that engaging narratively. I kind of feel like almost everything I saw in Vampire in the Garden was expected. It was very much a combination of well-trodden paths, wrapped up in a really nicely animated and designed bow. The story was good, but only good, at least to myself. I found myself really looking forward to where it went with high anticipation levels that were sadly never reached. A blink and the show was over before it really smashed through the ceiling to another level. It does make me want to see a season 2 so that further depth to the world and characters can be integrated. This was fine for a first season, and there is potential for more stuff within this world. What direction would you like to see Vampire in the Garden go in? Do you agree with my thoughts, or am I completely wrong? However you feel, the comments down below are an open forum, so please let me know. I've been Connor from Unleash the Ghouls, and remember, humans bad, vampires good.